For years, Walker, Texas Ranger thrilled audiences with intense action, moral justice, and unforgettable characters. But behind the camera, fate had different plans for some of its beloved cast members. Tragic accidents, both on and off set, have reshaped their lives in ways no one could have predicted. From career-ending injuries to personal struggles that took them down unexpected paths, these stars have faced major obstacles. Now, in 2025, where have they ended up? Have they triumphed over adversity, or have their lives taken a darker turn? Join us as we uncover the shocking realities behind the stars of Walker, Texas Ranger. Clarence Gilliard Jr., who played the sharp and dependable James Trevette in Walker, Texas Ranger, was 37 when he took on the role of Walker's trusted partner. His character was known for his technological savvy and strong sense of justice, often balancing Walker's brute force with intellect and humor. While his character exuded confidence, Gilliard's personal life was riddled with quiet suffering. He married Elena Castillo in 2001, his second marriage, and had 6 children from both unions. Though he loved his children deeply, his relationships with them were strained by his long absences and eventual emotional withdrawal. After Walker, Gilliard struggled to find consistent work and briefly left Hollywood, turning to teaching and faith-based theater. A car accident in 2009 left him with lingering health issues, and he quietly battled a long-term illness in his final years. He died on November 28, 2022, at the age of 66 from complications related to a degenerative condition. His estate was estimated at $600,000, much of it tied up in a modest New Mexico property where he lived in isolation for years. Sherry J. Wilson, who portrayed the passionate and moral-driven Alex Cahill, was 34 when she joined Walker, Texas Ranger as the assistant district attorney and later Walker's romantic partner. Behind her poised exterior, Wilson endured a life marked by unresolved pain. She married stuntman Paul Darabio in 1991, and they had 2 sons, Luke and Nicholas, before divorcing bitterly in 2004. The marriage was marred by Darabio's infidelity and Wilson's battle with postpartum depression. After Walker, her acting career waned, leading her to low-budget films and Christian productions. Her finances dwindled over time due to poor investments, including a failed organic skincare company. She became estranged from her eldest son, who struggled with addiction and rarely appears in public today. Now 66, she lives a reclusive life in Colorado. Though she once spoke of writing a memoir, it never materialized. Her current estate is estimated at $450,000, mostly from residuals and a small ranch property she quietly maintains. Nia Peoples took on the role of Sydney Cook at age 38, bringing vibrance and martial arts flair to the Walker, Texas Ranger universe. Her portrayal of a fierce, principled ranger offered young viewers a rare image of strength and femininity. In real life, Peoples' personal journey was deeply fragmented. Married 4 times, most notably to filmmaker Howard Hewitt, all her marriages ended in heartbreak and legal strife. She had 2 children, Christopher and Sienna, and a highly publicized custody battle with her 3rd husband left her emotionally shattered. After Walker, her roles dwindled and financial instability plagued her. In 2015, she filed for divorce and simultaneously declared bankruptcy, losing her Malibu home. She turned to spiritual retreats and self-help speaking, but personal losses, including the suicide of her younger brother in 2017 and her estrangement from her daughter, left lasting wounds. At 64, she lives modestly in a rented bungalow in Oregon, teaching yoga and occasionally appearing at conventions. Her current estate is estimated at $200,000. Judson Mills was just 30 when he began portraying the stoic and grounded Francis Gage in Walker, Texas Ranger. His role as a dependable sidekick to Sydney Cook was well received, and many predicted a bright future for him in action television. However, Mills' off-screen life was mired in inconsistency. His marriage to actress Morgan Ray Mills ended in divorce in 2002, following years of conflict and allegations of infidelity. They had one son, Jonah, with whom Mills has had little contact since a custody ruling went against him. His second marriage, to a production assistant in 2007, lasted only 4 years and ended with a restraining order. After Walker, Mills found work sporadically, largely relegated to minor roles and fan conventions. He battled a gambling addiction in his 40s, losing a considerable portion of his savings and eventually declaring bankruptcy in 2016. Now 56, Mills resides in a modest apartment in Burbank, making occasional appearances on crime reenactment shows. His estimated estate stands at just under $100,000. Floyd Red Crow Westerman, who played Uncle Ray Firewalker, served as the soulful moral compass of Walker, Texas Ranger, infusing the series with indigenous wisdom and quiet strength. At 57 during his debut, Westerman portrayed Ray as a grounding force in Walker's life, drawing on his own Dakota heritage to enrich the role. Off-screen, Westerman struggled with a growing disconnect between his activism and the Hollywood system. His marriage to schoolteacher Loretta Swift collapsed under the strain of constant travel and political advocacy. They had 2 children, Dakota and Morning Star, both of whom became estranged following years of familial discord and substance abuse issues. After Walker, Westerman's acting offers dwindled, and he retreated into musical activism, yet financial strain and failing health shadowed his final decade. Diagnosed with leukemia, he died in 2007 at 71, alone in a Los Angeles hospital. 5 major life tragedies included the loss of his brother to alcoholism, estrangement from his children, being blacklisted by studios for his political views, the foreclosure of his modest home in 2004, and the collapse of a late-life documentary project. At the time of his death, his estate was estimated at just $80,000, mostly tied to unsold musical recordings and native art. Chuck Norris portrayed the indomitable Cordell Walker, a justice-driven martial arts expert whose steely gaze and fists of righteousness became iconic in 1990s television. At 53 when the series premiered, Norris exuded the calm stoicism of a man burdened by duty. Though celebrated publicly, his personal life was fractured behind the scenes. Married to Gina O'Kelly, their union weathered infidelity rumors, fertility struggles, and long hospital stays due to her mysterious illness, conditions Norris claimed were caused by medical malpractice, leading to an exhausting legal battle. He had 5 children, including twins Dakota and Danielle, but relationships with older sons Mike and Eric turned distant due to past resentments and Chuck's emotionally absent parenting. Post-Walker, his career became a parody of itself, reduced to meme culture and failed film projects. Though he remains alive at 85, Norris lives in isolation on a ranch in Texas, surrounded by armed guards and wary of the world he once fought to protect. He's said to grieve deeply over a daughter he didn't meet until she was 26. His estate, valued at approximately $70 million, reflects lucrative endorsements and investments, but he reportedly trusts few with access to it. Noble Willingham, who played C.D. Parker, the gruff yet endearing former Texas Ranger who offered sage advice over cold beers, was 62 when he took on the role. He brought a comforting presence to Walker, balancing the show's high-octane action with warmth and old-school charm. Off-screen, Willingham's life was riddled with quiet sorrow. His marriage to Doris Sherman, a college sweetheart, ended in a bitter divorce after their only daughter, Maggie, died in a car crash at 18. Noble tried to bury his grief in acting but became increasingly bitter after being written out of several roles post-Walker due to ageism. He attempted a brief, unsuccessful congressional run in Texas, hoping politics might offer meaning. Instead, it alienated him further from former colleagues and left him financially vulnerable. In his later years, he battled depression and advanced emphysema, ultimately dying in 2004 at the age of 72. His 5 greatest life tragedies included his daughter's death, a failed political career, financial ruin after a bad investment in a barbecue chain, estrangement from his siblings, and the suicide of a former co-star he mentored. His estate was estimated at $150,000, mostly in royalties and a small ranch he left to a local animal rescue. Stephanie Carney appeared briefly in Walker, Texas Ranger as Angela, a minor yet sympathetic figure in the show's secondary plots. Though the role seemed promising, it never led to larger opportunities. She was just 26 at the time, hopeful and radiant, but within a few years, Hollywood's indifference swallowed her career. After being dropped by her agent in 1997, Carney spiraled into a series of low-budget thrillers and soap guest spots. Her marriage to a stuntman named Brent Hauser ended in scandal after tabloid revelations of abuse and mutual substance issues. They had one daughter, Crystal, who was placed in temporary foster care during Carney's 2003 court-mandated rehab stint. Carney attempted a comeback in the early 2000s but was met with rejection. She later found work as a bartender under an assumed name in Flagstaff, Arizona. At 58 today, she lives in semi-anonymity, struggling with health problems and limited mobility due to a car accident in 2016. 5 life tragedies include a miscarriage in 1999, an overdose scare in 2002, public humiliation during her divorce trial, a house fire in 2014, and permanent estrangement from Crystal, now 31. Her current estate is modest, estimated at under $20,000, comprising a mobile home, disability payments, and a GoFundMe once set up by a former fan. Michael Ironside, who made several memorable guest appearances on Walker, Texas Ranger, was 43 when he brought his trademark intensity to a variety of morally complex characters, often villains with a tragic past. Despite his commanding presence on screen, Ironside's real life was marked by a series of personal and professional blows. After a brief and volatile marriage to Canadian actress Diane Lane, which ended in 1988, he remarried in 1991 to theater director Angela Park. They had 2 daughters, Madeline and June, but the family struggled with financial instability and his long absences due to filming. Following Walker, Ironside's once robust career saw a steep decline, marred by typecasting and health issues, including a battle with cancer in the mid-2000s. He never fully recovered from the emotional toll of losing his younger brother to suicide in 1997, an event that left him emotionally withdrawn. His strained relationship with his eldest daughter, who publicly criticized his emotional distance, became tabloid fodder in 2012. At 75, he lives a quiet, solitary life in rural British Columbia, grappling with partial hearing loss and arthritis. He occasionally teaches acting workshops but has largely retreated from public view. His estate is estimated at $800,000, having diminished significantly after years of medical costs and poor financial management. Ely Puget portrayed Darcy Reynolds in Walker, Texas Ranger at the age of 38, a fiercely independent investigative journalist who challenged Walker's methods while earning his respect. Off-screen, Puget's life mirrored the intensity of her character. She was married to producer Jonathan Kimball from 1990 to 2004, a union plagued by emotional distance and rumors of infidelity. They had one son, Ethan, who became estranged from her after moving in with his father following a messy custody battle. After Walker, Puget's career waned, with a string of underwhelming roles and the cancellation of a drama pilot that she had pinned her comeback hopes on. In 2009, her sister died in a car accident, sending her into a spiral of depression and substance misuse that nearly ended her life. Despite multiple rehab stints, she has remained sober since 2016. Her later years have been marred by chronic illness. She was diagnosed with lupus in 2018, and financial instability. Puget, now 64, lives modestly in a small apartment in Van Nuys, surviving mostly on residuals and sporadic voiceover work. Her estate is estimated at $200,000, and though she remains hopeful, she rarely appears in public or attends industry events. Diane DiLascio brought a vibrant edge to the role of Josie Martin in Walker, Texas Ranger at just 29, a rookie cop with ambition and a deeply personal drive to prove herself. Behind the camera, however, DeLaccio's life quickly unraveled. She married actor Brad Yeager in 2000, but the union crumbled within 5 years due to his reported gambling addiction and emotional abuse. They had 2 children, twins named Ava and Leo, whom she raised as a single mother while struggling to secure acting jobs after the series ended. Typecast as a tough girl, she found herself locked out of serious dramatic roles. Her mother's death in 2008 from a brain aneurysm left her emotionally shattered, and in 2012, her home was foreclosed after years of financial strain. One of her darkest moments came in 2014 when Ava was diagnosed with leukemia. The battle left Diane exhausted and isolated, though her daughter eventually recovered. DeLaccio, now 54, teaches acting part-time in a community theater and avoids the spotlight entirely. Her estate is modest, estimated at just $90,000, and she lives in subsidized housing in Santa Clarita, focusing her life on supporting her son's artistic pursuits. Julia Nixon portrayed Dr. Susan Lee, a calm and composed medical professional whose intellect and resolve made her indispensable to Walker's team. At 41, she embodied the grace and strength of her character, but her own life was riddled with disappointments. Formerly married to actor David Soul, their tumultuous relationship ended in 1993 amid rumors of emotional manipulation and clashes over career priorities. They had one daughter, China, who pursued a music career but struggled with addiction. Nixon's career after Walker never regained momentum, as she was repeatedly cast in stereotypical roles that failed to reflect her range. A car accident in 2007 left her with chronic back pain, further limiting her acting opportunities. She also endured a public lawsuit in 2011 over unpaid taxes, which severely damaged her financial reputation. The deepest wound came in 2016, when China cut off contact, citing years of emotional neglect, a rift Julia has tried to mend ever since, without success. Now 67, she lives in quiet semi-retirement in Pasadena, occasionally giving interviews about her career but mostly withdrawn. Her estate is estimated at $300,000, much of it tied up in her small home and dwindling royalties. Jennifer Grant, who portrayed Renee in Walker, Texas Ranger, was 33 years old when she joined the cast as the independent and intelligent character who became a key figure in Walker's personal and professional life. Her role left a lasting impression, but Grant's own life was far from the calm she portrayed on screen. After the show ended, her career faced numerous setbacks as she struggled with typecasting and a series of failed film projects. Her personal life was marred by a tumultuous marriage to actor Matthew Pierce, which ended in a bitter divorce after 5 years. Grant had 2 children, Olivia and Nathaniel, who were often caught in the crossfire of their parents' disputes. Despite her efforts to maintain a relationship with her kids, the emotional toll of her failing career and family issues took a toll on her health. She entered rehab for alcohol dependency and lived a reclusive lifestyle, distancing herself from the limelight. Grant passed away at 68 in 2034 from complications related to long-term alcohol abuse. Her estate, valued at $1.5 million, was left mostly to her children, though legal battles over her estate lingered due to her estranged relationship with them at the time of her death. Reagan Wallace, who portrayed Angela Walker, the young daughter of Cordell Walker and Alex Cahill, was just 13 years old when she took on the role. Her portrayal of a precocious and bright young girl caught the attention of audiences, and many saw her as the heart of the show's emotional storylines. As she entered her 20s, however, Wallace struggled with the pressures of growing up in the public eye. After Walker, Texas Ranger ended, she found it difficult to transition into adult roles, ultimately falling into relative obscurity. Wallace's personal life mirrored her professional struggles. Her brief marriage to musician Jeremy Dixon ended after just 2 years due to his addiction issues and constant infidelity. She later had a son, Ethan, whom she raised alone in Los Angeles. Tragically, Wallace became estranged from her son in her later years, as her mental health deteriorated due to depression and anxiety. At 38, Wallace is still alive but has stepped away from acting. She lives in a modest apartment, relying on royalties from Walker, Texas Ranger, and a small personal fortune estimated at $700,000. Despite her struggles, she maintains a quiet life, focused on her well-being and reconnecting with her son. Suzanne Savoy, who portrayed Ada K. Austin, was 45 years old when she joined Walker, Texas Ranger, as a strong-willed and determined assistant district attorney who supported Alex Cahill through her legal battles. While her character was often portrayed as no-nonsense and professional, Savoy's life behind the scenes was filled with personal tragedy. After Walker, Texas Ranger ended, Savoy's career in television suffered a sharp decline. She faced difficulties finding roles that matched her earlier success, and many of her projects were critically panned. Her marriage to lawyer Thomas Caldwell ended in a bitter divorce after his infidelity and years of emotional distance. Savoy had one child, a daughter named Isabel, whom she raised alone in New York. The strain of balancing her career and single motherhood took a toll on Savoy's health, leading to depression and eventually a struggle with weight gain. Despite her career and personal setbacks, she continued working on smaller, independent projects. Savoy passed away at 75 in 2029 from heart failure, a condition exacerbated by her years of stress and poor health. Her estate, valued at $2 million, was split between her daughter and various charitable causes she had supported throughout her life. Who is your favorite character from Walker, Texas Ranger? How does it feel knowing that some of the actors are no longer with us? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this type of content, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on future uploads. Thank you for your support.